Hey, welcome back to the Rip House. Today we have what I hope is the first of many. We have our first shipping day. Here we have three cards that I sold off of my eBay page. On the left, we have a Jaden Daniels Optic Silver or Hollow, depending on how you want to call that. Here in the center, we have a Topps Resurgence Aqua Power Surge, numbered out of 249, Rob Gronkowski. And on the right, we have another card that you saw me pull on this channel. That is the Jalen Hurts Red Sparkle out of the Prism Sparkle packs. Listed all of these in the past week, and they sold very quickly. Uh, Probably came in under value on the Rob Gronkowski, but I try not to back down. Once I list it, that's kind of what it is. I may revise the price if it goes down. I almost never increase the price after I've posted it. So, my loss is their gain. I have no qualms with that. It is what it is. Now we have to get these out to the new owners. Uh, First priority number one when shipping something to anybody is to make sure that it arrives in the condition that I shipped it in, and also that I do everything I can to make sure that we deter any sort of theft, try and stop anybody from getting into it, cutting into the packaging while it's in transit. So today I wanted to show you a little bit of how I'm going to do that. On the left, this being the most expensive card, it kind of has the least parameters as far as the shipping goes. So I'm going to sandwich that in between these two pieces of corrugate, pretty thick, nice durable stuff. I'm going to tape those in there. I'm going to tape that shut. I'm going to stick it in a bubble mailer, fold it over, and then stick that in a second bubble mailer. Here in the center, the Rob Gronkowski, that is going plain white envelope. If you order off of eBay, you know what that is. You're just going in your standard paper envelope here. I do a few things to also make sure that nobody wants to rip that open knowing that there's a card inside of there. I try to hide it, make it less visible from the outside of the envelope. And then here, the Jalen Hurts is sort of the middle of the road as far as the pricing goes. It came in under the $20 mark, which on eBay means it qualifies for the plain white envelope. But I'm going to try and beef this up a little bit. That plain white envelope shipping, the thickness of the envelope can only be 1/4 inch. So you're limited. I definitely couldn't do two pieces of this and then wrap it up in a bubble mailer. So I have had a few cards stopped due to the thickness of that. It wouldn't pass through the machine. So we don't want that to happen. Um, all that being said, guys, I think that we can get these out of here within the 24-hour turnaround. I try to do that anytime that I can. I have a label printer, so I don't have to go to the post office. The last thing that I will try to do is actually walk these into whatever carrier that I'm using. I don't like to use a drop box. When I walk in, I can make sure they scan it. I get my receipt. It shows that they took possession. There's my proof of delivery that I dropped it off. And that way, if there's any sort of claim coming back after that, at least I can show that I did my part and I didn't try to scam anybody or do anything negative. There's a lot of that going on in the hobby, and I don't want any of that attached to my name. So, as always, my top priority is customer satisfaction. And for that to be possible, two things need to happen. One, the card needs to arrive at the customer's house. Two, it needs to be in the condition that they bought it in. First, we have the Jaden Daniels. Let's get that one packaged up, get it out of here. We are going to sandwich that here. So we set him in the middle. Make sure that we have enough room on all sides. I actually have this sample that I throw in there, and that's how I cut these to size. I use blue painter's tape because it's easy to peel off. It should not do any sort of damage or leave a bunch of residue on things like your top loaders or your sleeves. I never ship in just a sleeve. I top load everything. However, this should work for any of you who do ship in just sleeves. I'll get a couple of longer strips of tape ready. That way I have plenty to do what I need. I always take just a small piece. I use that to seal our top loader, just so our car doesn't decide to come out while it's in transit. Never seen anything like that happen, but it could. Yeah. And we're trying hard to keep this with plenty of equal space around the border. We don't need it taking an impact and having less protection on any side here. So it doesn't take much. We're just trying to hold it in here. The card doesn't have any weight to it. All right, these pieces get a little bit longer. You can see I come around and we'll make sure that this is nice and sealed up. Both sides first. I will need just a little bit more tape. I am not worried about how much tape I am using. I'm not worried about my materials. If I ever got to a point where I was using so much material that I needed to add it into my shipping costs, I would. Right? I think something like this, added protection, taking on a little extra cost for something like this is something that customers are willing to pay for. I know it's something that I'm willing to pay for, and it's something that I'm willing to do for my customers. So that being said, it shouldn't be a big question. All right, we have it all sealed up. I'm going to throw it in our first bubble mailer. Hold this right over on itself. We take that and we slide it directly into our second bubble mailer. We cannot. Because sometimes I like to turn it sideways and really pack it in there nice and tight, but it's okay. We smooth out these corners because the more uniform that looks, the better this thing is going to seal. Out of here. There it is. And there is package number one. I will come across this with some tape. Found the tape. So I'll come through here and I just come right across the seam. And then I come around the side and seal that up on the front. Back up. There we go. And then the shipping label will get placed over those two ends of the tape. So they can't be peeled up or anything like that. But also now if they want to try to rip this open, they're going to have to tear through this envelope, which is not easy. If you're an employee at the post office or a carrier, you're not going to get into this without people wondering what the heck that guy's doing. So I know it may seem like it's a bit overkill, but guys, I work in distribution, and the way that people treat packages and the way that I have seen theft happen to other people's shipping cards, this is not overkill. This is necessary. One down, two more to go. All right. The Rob Gronkowski. This is the one that's going to go plain white envelope. One thing that I noticed when I've shipped plain white envelope is that the thickness will get caught in certain machines, certain post offices, and then it will not be delivered. So rather than sandwich this in between the corrugate like we just did with the Jaden Daniels, I am going to put our little piece of tape up top here and get that ready. Doesn't have to be much. Matter of fact, the less tape on the top loader and the card and stuff, the better. But again, I do what I need to. I will not sacrifice safety or anything like that. I don't want to feel any regret or concerns when I ship a card. What I do when we are shipping plain white envelope is I wrap it up in a typical tri-fold, like a letter fold style paper. Right there, I think I have 8 sheets. And I go ahead and tape it up just like we did the Jayden Daniels in the corrugate. Just don't want that sliding around. It doesn't have to be as intense as the Jayden Daniels was. We can probably just do 3 sides on this. And then I fold it up and we get it here in the envelope. Simple as that. It may not seem like much, but it does stop anybody from seeing it. And this is actually going to be something tough that I don't think this is going to get bent or messed with. It's in the top loader. It's in the paper. I'm calling this one ready to go. It is going to be off to, not going to say that state. You guys thought I was going to reveal somebody's address. Not going to do that. I actually have my shipping labels covered over here because I don't want to reveal any sort of address, shipping information, or names. That is another thing that I feel like could possibly compromise the shipment if somebody was trying to watch this and get a hold of that information. Again, you guys may call me paranoid, but I think that doing everything that I possibly can to make sure this gets where it needs to go is what some customers like. I have a 100% positive review on my shipping on eBay. And I think a lot of that has to do with my communication and that I tell people exactly what I'm doing and how I plan to get their merchandise to them safe and sound. They appreciate it. And then I have had plenty of people come back after the fact and say that they really enjoy the fact that I took so much care of something that wasn't even mine. I say, of course, guys, I would like somebody to treat me the same way. So, not even narrating it. I'm sure you guys understand what I'm doing here. Sealing this up in the corrugate. Now, this guy is going in a single bubble mailer. I have changed the style of shipping because I'm trying something out, a little something different where I can do a plain white shipping cost, but that I can actually still sandwich and do a little bit more protection on some of these cards and not have to pay the $5 or $6 shipping like we do for everything else. So let's seal this up. And then if you don't remember from the beginning of the video, this one is just going in a bubble mailer. And we're going to fold it over on itself. And that should be plenty for what we need. Here we are, bubble mailer. I'm going to go sideways here. So it's there you go. And then we're just folding over one time on itself. And then we will also seal it with the tape, like I was just talking about. We'll grab our tape here. Flip. Remember, covering the seam. That seam is in a perfect spot because it's right up near the top of the envelope here. So it's really kind of hugging that lid, that flap, and keeping it down. And then we're going to cover these ends with our shipping label. So here we are. One package here. We have our Jayden Daniels. Remember, the more expensive card, the more expensive the shipping, the least parameters. So we can make it bigger, bulkier, more padded, more protection. This is the Jalen Hurts. That was sort of middle of the road as far as pricing goes. So the shipping that we selected was something where we're trying to go more plain white envelope as far as economy and cost, but be able to pad it up, things closer to that $20 mark purchasing price, but still shipping for that plain white envelope price. And then we have our Rob Gronkowski shipping plain white envelope. Again, you can't see that at all. You have no idea there's a card in there. It's nice and thick. That's not going to get somebody ripping into this. I think we're going to be doing okay. Guys, I will let you know when these show delivered. Thanks for coming back for this one. We will see you next time. Could be a rip, could be a mail day, could be another shipping episode. Go and check out my eBay page, Fans of the Game. If you find anything on there that you want and mention that you are a fan of my YouTube channel, we can cut a deal. All right. Anything that you see me rip on my channel is available for sale on my eBay page, and it will get shipped out and protected just like this. Okay. We will catch you next time. Peace.